Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to talk about how I built 6 streams of income, and I might even include 7 or 8 other streams of income. Actually, see, this is why I knew I was gonna have a nice video for you today, because as I'm thinking about it, I literally tried to count all my streams of income before this channel, before going live, and guess what? I just thought of another one. So I have so many streams of income, and that's a great position to be in as a young investor, because it just continues to sharpen your mind, and you find different pathways of investing. But without further ado, I'm not going to waste any of your time whatsoever. We're going to get straight into it. If you can just hit that like button for me and subscribe to the channel, I'll greatly appreciate it. So the first things first, I'm going to give you a breakdown of how I got to where I got to and how you can get there too. So if you want to follow the same path, if you want to deviate from that path, you can go ahead and do that. But again, this is how I got started. So the first thing I did was save money. That I do not count that as a stream of income, even though it is generating 4.5% returns right now in the high interest savings department. But I do not count that as a stream of income. Although in the video, I don't count it. I count it in real life, because that's 4.5%. That's a beautiful return. When I started to really get into saving, I was able to start putting money aside for in the stock market. The stock market is the first stream of income that I was able to be a part of. And so it first started with just appreciation in growth stocks. And then I started to deviate from that and get dividend stocks that pay me some every month, some every quarter. And so I have 29 stocks. Only 2 or 3 are growth stocks. And so I have 26 companies that pay me a dividend every single month. 26 companies that pay me a dividends every month or every 3 months. So every quarter. And I receive well over about $55 a month just in dividends alone. And that number is obviously always rising because I'm always adding to that account. And the dividends is getting compounded every single month as well. So that number keeps going up. Every 3 months, it goes up like an additional $5 now. So it is compounding very quickly, and it is doing what it's supposed to do, which is make me more money. My money is making me money. On to the next one, because again, it's a lot to go over, so I'm not trying to waste any time. 401k, Roth IRA. Personally, I do the Roth IRA, and I have a company match with my company. And so that makes me, just on the company match alone, if I'm going to be honest and give you the straight numbers, I make about $150 just off of the company match every month, just the company match, because I do put in about 14% of my entire income just into the Roth IRA, 14% right off the rip. Since I started working at my job, I've never actually seen a full paycheck because it goes straight to the Roth IRA, straight. And so that $150 company match on top of what I'm already putting in there, I mean, that's a great stream of income. That is great money, money that I didn't have to work for. Why? I'm just allowing my money to make me more money just because I decided to not spend it and invest it instead. Okay, so now I just told you I have a Roth IRA. I just told you I have an independent vehicle that I use that's called the stock market, and all the dividend income that I'm getting from 26 different companies, some that pay every month and some that pay every 3 months. I also reinvest into that stock market account as well. So on top of investing in my Roth IRA, I also invest in the stock market. I invest well over $14,000 to $17,000 a year in just the stock market alone, every single year. Now, let's move forward. The next investment that I would say I got into was real estate. So I started with an Acorns account, had $10,000 in it. Then I also saved a little bit of money, bought my first real estate property. After doing that, I had went into the Army and rented it out. That property now makes me a decent return. I'm not going to get into the numbers on that one. And that's been since day one, because the first month you buy a real estate property, you actually don't pay your mortgage. You've kind of already paid that in the closing costs. And so you get 1 month free. And so from the very first month, I had no bills essentially. And it's been cash flowing since day one. And once I left the Army with disability and things like that, that was another stream of income that I didn't even think about until the video started. And then, of course, I bought this property, which I rent by the room, which is kind of like a break even for me. So, but it's still money at the end of the day. And I live here. So, so that's also a benefit. Now we're going to talk about CDs, which are certificates of deposits. And I'm already thinking about another stream that I wasn't thinking about before. So certificates of deposits are basically locking in an interest rate. So just like I told you, I'm getting 4.5% returns in savings right now. If I were to lock in a certificate of deposit right now, I can get well over 5% returns. Well over 5%. Imagine getting a 5% return with no risk, because it's backed by the government, it's backed by the bank, right? Banks do fail. We saw banks fail all 2023, but as long as you have less than 250,000 in a bank, your money is FDIC insured. So would you rather get a 10% return in the stock market or a 5% return that is guaranteed with no risk involved in a CD? That's a question that you have to make. Now, personally, as an investor, I would still invest because 10% is greater than 5. Yes, there's more risk, and that's why there's higher reward. And then as you get older, you might start to say, I'm not going to risk $2, $3, $4 million. I'm just going to get my little 5% right here. That makes sense, right? But as you're young, invest. That's my take on it. But again, you have to make your own informed decision for your situation. So do I have a 5% CD? No. In fact, I have a CD that's less than the savings rate right now. But I don't want to lose money by cashing out the CD early. And so I'm keeping it at my 3.15%. I bought that CD in 2019. And obviously in 2019, that was a good deal. But now in 2023, it's not so good. It was good for the last 3 years, but not good for this year. And so I'm going to say, you got to take the good with the bad. And I'm going to keep my CD because it was good to me for 3 years. And I don't want to lose that interest. Now, with that being said, let's move forward. Series I bonds. This is another one of those government things that you don't really consider too much all the time. It was just that the interest rates were so good on the Series I bond for so long. So you had 9.6%, then you had about 7.85% returns, then you had about 5.5% returns, and now it's at 4.3% returns. And so obviously Series I bonds are starting to lose that high interest rate that it once had. And I bought it when it was right around that 7% return or 9% return. And then, of course, I got the 9% gains. I got the 7% gains. Now that it's going into 4% gains, I'm like, oh, that's not what we signed up for. So in about another 6 months or so, I might say it's time to sell, or I might hold on to it for a little bit longer. It might go down to 3%. And then I might say, okay, now it's really time to sell. Let me take that out and use it for something else, right? But right now I'm using the Series I bond because, again, the government-backed security that is giving me a guaranteed return. Why would I pass that up? And the thing that I like about all my investments that I do is that every single month I literally get richer and richer and richer. Nobody sees it. You might think I make $1 a year or $1 million a year. It doesn't make a difference. But when you look at me, you don't see the difference. But what I know is that every single day, every single month, I get richer. Why is that? Is because I have 26 companies paying me every 3 months. I have real estate paying me every month. I have a company match paying me on top of the money that I put in every 2 weeks to every month. I have dividend. I just talked about the dividends. Then we have CDs paying me every single month at the beginning of every month. Then I have certificates. I just said certificates of deposit. I have Series I bonds paying me every 6 months. I also have a high interest savings account for an emergency fund. I'm not going to count that. But then I also have a high interest savings account that is a usable account that pays me every single month. Then we have, I don't really count the disability and all that stuff because that doesn't go up with time unless you're investing the difference. And so you can just put that to the side as passive income. But all in all, and as I pay down the mortgage, guess what? The principal goes up. The what you call it, the interest goes down. And so I'm getting more equity every single month. And so the way I look at it is like every single month, every single day, every single week, I'm just going up, just going up. And if I have a bad week where I spend as much as I make because it'll never be more, I'm too budget minded for that, then you know what, that's a break even month. I hate those type of months. It doesn't happen often, maybe once a month in an entire year, but it does happen. And those are the days that you're like, oh my goodness, why did I do that? Or why did I do this? And then sometimes you'll have months where you just make more than you thought you would make, and it's a blessing. So like about 2 months ago, I had one of those months where I just made way more than I thought I would make. And so as you continue on this journey, just understand that the compound interest is going to keep coming. The compound interest in your savings, compound interest in your Series I bond, compound interest in your CDs, compound interest in your Roth IRA, compound interest in your stock market, compound interest in your principal when you're paying down your real estate month over month. I put extra into that as well. And then, you know, with the amount that I'm putting into the stock market, I know a lot of people were shocked when I told you that number, but it's the truth. That's what I put in. And, you know, there's people who are putting more. There's people who's maxing it out every single year, and there's people who are not putting in anything at all. And so all I can say is you get what you put in. Those are just a few of the streams that I'm getting into. I haven't even dove into business yet. And like I told you in the previous videos, I will start to break down a lot of the streams and a lot of the stuff that I do and how I got into it and what you can do and how you can invest in it. Right now, I'm just giving you a broad overview of it, but we will start to break that down here shortly. If you like this video, please make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. You know I post every single day at 8 a.m. daily on YouTube and on Rumble, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Peace.